Hello, and welcome back to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we will be reading Leviticus chapter 25. And the Lord spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. That which groweth of its own accord of thy harvest thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed, for it is a year of rest unto the land. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourneth with thee, and for the cattle, and for the beasts that are in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, 7 times 7 years, and the space of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years. Then shalt thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month, in the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. A jubile shall that 50th year be unto you. Ye shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth of itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of thy vine undressed. For it is the Jubilee. It shall be holy unto you. Ye shall eat the increase thereof out of the field. In the year of this Jubilee ye shall return every man unto his possession. And if thou sell out aught unto thy neighbor, or buyest aught of thy neighbor's hand, ye shall not oppress one another. According to the number of years after the Jubilee thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto the number of years of the fruits he shall set unto thee. According to the multitude of years thou shalt increase the price thereof, and according to the fewness of years thou shalt diminish the price of it. For according to the number of the years of the fruits doth he sell unto thee. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God, for I am the Lord your God. Wherefore ye shall do my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield her fruit, and ye shall eat your fill, and dwell therein in safety. And if ye shall say, What shall we eat the 7th year? Behold, we shall not sow nor gather in our increase. Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for 3 years. And ye shall sow the 8th year, and eat yet of old fruit until the 9th year. Until her fruits come in, ye shall eat of the old store. And the land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojourners with me. And in all the land of your possession ye shall grant a redemption for the land. If thy brother be waxen poor, and hath sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, that he may return unto his possession. But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that hath bought it out until the year of Jubilee. And in the Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possession. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year after it is sold. Within a full year may he redeem it. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generations. It shall not go out in the Jubilee. But in the houses of the villages, which have no wall round about them, shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubilee. Notwithstanding the cities of the Levites and the houses of the cities of their possession may the Levites redeem at any time. And if a man purchase of the Levites, then the house that was sold in the city of his possession shall go out in the year of the Jubilee. For the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. And if thy brother be waxen poor, and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Take thou no usury of him, or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your God. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant, but as an hired servant, and as a sojourner. He shall be with thee, and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shalt fear thy God. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye bury Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession, and ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him, either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh of kin unto him of his family may redeem him, or if he be able, he may redeem himself. And he shall reckon with him that bought him from the year that he was sold to him unto the year of Jubilee. And the price of his sale shall be according unto the number of years. According to the time of an hired servant shall it be with him. If there be yet many years behind, according unto them, he shall give again the price of his redemption out of the money that he was bought for. And if there remain but few years unto the year of Jubilee, then he shall count with him, and according unto his years shall he give him again the price of his redemption. And as a yearly hired servant shall he be with them, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in thy sight. And if he be not redeemed in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children with him. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. I'm going to need a sip of water after that. Summarizing Leviticus chapter 25. I struggled with this chapter, and I still don't think I have a really clear summary, but I would still like to proceed and present what notes I've taken anyway. That being said, I also want to communicate that I don't think it's my job to understand everything perfectly. It isn't my job to defend Christianity or connect the pieces so that I can make Christianity look more attractive to other people who aren't Christian. I don't think that's my job. And I also don't believe it's my job to explain my faith or to resolve perceived discrepancies. None of that is my responsibility or my job as a Christian. So I don't do that. Okay, verse 4. God commands the Israelites once again through Moses to treat the new land that God will give them like a Sabbath every year. Now, immediately at the beginning, I am confusion. Because we get to verse 5, it says, "You shall not reap what grows in the harvest," right? And don't uh, gather or don't gather grapes from your vineyard. So this is at the very beginning. But then verse 6 says, "The Sabbath of the land will provide food for you." How is it going to provide food for you if you just said you can't reap or sow? So I was stuck on that for a while. And verse 7 and 8 is saying, yeah, this is going to provide food for you, yourself, your servants, the cattle, the animals. Like, okay, don't understand, but we're moving on. Verse 8, "Keep a record of 49 years according to the pattern. Every seventh year is a Sabbath. every seventh year is a Sabbath. And you're going to do this for 49 years. And then in verse 9, on the seventh month, 10th day, you will celebrate the Day of Atonement by blowing the trumpet. Verse 10, bless the 50th year on the new land, proclaim or declare this as a year of celebration, reunite with your own land and family. Verse 11, okay, so the 50th year will be a jubilee or celebration. Don't sow and don't reap what grows of the harvest or the vineyard. So this is again the same 4, 5, 6. So it says the 50th year should be a rest, a Sabbath. So don't use the land. But then it does it again. You may eat the produce of the field. So then it says here, in the year of Jubilee, each of you shall return to his property. Okay. So return to the land of your ancestors. Verse 14, if you make a sale to your neighbor or buy from your neighbor. And so again, this is dealing with property. It's dealing with property. And possession, when we look back here, the year of Jubilee, you should turn every man into his possession. So possession is like property, even though it's worded like possession. The word possession can mean anything. Like, I don't know if we really need to do this, but how I read this is possession can mean like an item or 4 S's. Okay, something owned, occupied, or controlled. Okay, so it is property. Okay. So it starts here with the possession thing. Then when we look at verse 14, if you make a sale to your neighbor, buy from your neighbor, so that would make sense. This is referring to property. And then when we go to 15, we still see that it's the continuation of dealing with property, because this is saying you should sell it according to the number of years for crops. And, if the years are many, you should increase the price. If the years are few, reduce the price. And so the reason why this is important in terms of property is because we have to remember the 7th year is the year of rest. So there will be no sowing, no reaping, none of that. So if the Jubilee year was the previous year, and now you want to sell your land the following year, you will still have 5, 6 good years to sow and reap. But if you were to sell your land like the year before, it wouldn't make sense for the price to be as high or you to get as much money, because you have less than a year to get a crop, and you know that's really not enough time to benefit from the land. So I hope I was able to explain that. I feel like I understood that part, but the other notes that I took here was that inflation is an idea that is supported by God. That certain times, or when conditions permit, inflation can be, is moral, can be permitted. But also the concept of deflation, when times permit, is permitted as well. And what God just says here is, don't take advantage of each other, don't wrong each other. I understand the supply and demand, but just don't take advantage of each other. I don't want to scratch my makeup off. I just really love the green. I don't love unnatural colors for long periods of time, but I love unnatural hair sometimes, and I want to match my hair and my makeup. I think it's cool. Do my statutes, keep my rules, you'll dwell in the land securely. The phrase "you will dwell in the land securely" appears in both verse 18 and 19. Okay. And then God is addressing the question, or the question that the Israelites will probably have. What are we going to eat in the seventh year if we're not going to gather produce? And God says, I will command a blessing on the sixth year, and you'll have enough for 3 years. And you're going to need it because you're only going to be able to sow in the eighth year, right? So you sow in the sixth year, the seventh year, there's no sowing, no reaping. And then you're going to plant again in the eighth year, and you're not going to be able to get anything back from it until the ninth year. So what you get in the sixth year is going to have to last you for until the ninth year. What I got from this is like, God really does want everything to rest. Like God had to rest after creation. He wanted humans to rest. And he said 6 days you can do work, but rest on one day of the week. And then we have here, the land needs to rest. This is all about giving the land rest. And this, not only does the land have to rest, but humans have to budget and manage their resources to give the land rest. Okay, and then the land that you live on, because this is not happening right now. This is like a pep talk for what's going to happen when they enter the land of Canaan. So God is telling them, the land should not be sold permanently if you sell it, because the land is mine, and you're foreigners and you're strangers. So you don't get to sell the land permanently. And allow redemption of the land because it isn't even yours. I don't know why I have all these open, because I don't know. This is just easier. So it says, allow people that sell their items due to financial hardship to repurchase those items. Okay, and so it says, if the man has no one to redeem it, and then he has sufficient means to redeem it, the person who has the item can count the years of the sale and, get, like an interest, the overplus. He then has the right to redeem it if he's the one who bought it. The price of the land will be discounted according to the number of years. In this way, the original owner can then return to the land. He may calculate the years since its sale, repay the balance to the man he sold it to, and return it to his property. And there's a balance because the land appreciates the closer it gets to Jubilee. So I don't feel like I explained that very clearly, but that, because honestly, I read this different. Restore the overplus unto the man, so that I didn't even read that correctly. But the Christian Standard Bible, this, I understand this. He may calculate the years since its sale, repay the balance. But if he does not have sufficient means to cover it, then what he sold shall remain in the hand of the buyer until the year of Jubilee. And then in the Jubilee, it should be released and he can return to his property. And so this sort of made me think of the 7-year credit rule, where after 7 years, a negative mark falls off your credit report. Verse 29. If a man sells a dwelling house in a walled city, he may redeem it within a year of his sale. For a year, he has the right to get his house back in a walled city. But if it's not redeemed in a full year, then it should belong to the buyer. And then we have the houses that have no walls around them should just be classified like the field. They can be redeemed in Jubilee. But the cities of the Levites may redeem at any time the houses, because it's considered their land. Okay, so the property of the Levites is redeemable. A house sold in any town they hold is to be returned to the Jubilee, because the houses in the towns of the Levites are their property among the Israelites. So, okay. Okay, but the field of the suburbs of their cities or the pasture land can't be sold. It is their perpetual possession. So Levites are given certain land. I don't feel as confident about this either. So, uh, okay, so then it has here, if your brother becomes poor and can't maintain himself with you, you shall support him as though he were stranger and visitor or stranger, so he can live with you. So what this is saying is, allow a poor person to live with you and don't take interest or profit, usury or increase. Fear God, respect God. Let the brother live with you. Treat him like a relative. Verse 37, don't lend him money at interest or give him food as a profit. Okay, I'm the Lord your God. I'm going to give you the land of Canaan. So that's where I got, God is going to give them the land of Canaan. And so, 39, if your brother becomes poor and sells himself, don't make him serve as a bondservant if he sells himself to you. Treat him like a hired worker and a stranger. Let him serve with you until the end of the Jubilee. And then on the 7th year, he will go out from you, and go back to his own clan. So that's another thing that I noticed. And in Exodus, God made some rules about slavery, and I mentioned them, but I didn't emphasize that slavery is in the Bible. Slavery is in the Bible. But after 7 years, you're supposed to be able to go. Like, there is a there are special instances where a person might be a lifelong slave, uh, but there were conditions around slavery. And as we saw, it says here, if someone sells themselves to you, you're supposed to treat them like a hired worker. You're not supposed to treat them like cattle. So, but again, the Bible has been taken out of context so many times. That's why I just want to read it, because I don't trust what anybody has told me. I think that's another thing. I don't trust anyone. Everyone has an agenda when they read the Bible to try to make you believe something instead of just trying to get through it. Like, I hate this so much. Okay. Mm, They're servants. They shall not be sold as slaves. I had 3, 44, and 45. Okay, for male and female slaves, you can buy them from the nations that are among you, but you're not supposed to buy fellow Israelites. So I thought that was interesting too, because I mean, they're saying don't buy from your group of people, buy from other groups of people. So, and then there's going to be another, uh, you can pass on the slave that you purchase to your children as a possession forever. So you can be, they, people that are not from your group of people can be slaves, but not other Israelites. So not the Israelites, but other groups of people. Verse 47, if a rich stranger buys an Israelite, the Israelite's relatives can redeem him, and he has the ability to redeem himself. And then this is also another part that I just don't feel like I understood very clearly. He shall calculate with his buyer. Uh, he should negotiate the price of the freedom of the person who bought him. The price will be based on the number of years from the time they were sold until the next year of Jubilee, whatever it would cost to hire a worker for that time. So I guess after they get that, they pay that, and then the person is free. If there's so many years left, he shall refund part of his purchase price in proportion to them for his own redemption. If there remain but a few years, he shall calculate and pay for his redemption in proportion to his years of service. I feel like I just don't understand what that said, because it's like, okay, but this is what it says. So you have to pay to order to get your redemption, as if you have to sell yourself into slavery. In order to get a redemption, you're going to have to uh, do this. Okay, and then there's one more verse I want to get to. Okay, so don't roll over them ruthlessly. Okay. And then at the end, God ends it with saying, like, the Israelites are my servants. Hmm. I don't feel like this was that good, but I can't spend any more time on this. I don't want, my brain hurts and I still don't get it. Okay, so that was Leviticus chapter 25. The next upload will be Leviticus chapter 26.